Hey everyone, and welcome to this deep dive. We're going to be looking at whether there's any truth to that saying,
Okay.
an apple a day keeps the doctor away. We're going to unpack a Healthline article called 10 Impressive Health Benefits of Apples
Sounds good.
and see if this everyday fruit really lives up to its reputation. First things first, though. Do you have a favorite type of apple?
Well, what's really interesting is that apples are actually the most consumed fruit globally.
Oh, wow.
So clearly, something about them appeals to people all over the world.
Yeah, there's just something so satisfying about biting into a crisp apple.
Hmm.
But beyond that, satisfying crunch apples are considered nutrient dense. Can you tell us what that actually means?
Yeah, so nutrient dense basically means that relative to their calorie count,
Okay.
apples are packed with a variety of vitamins and minerals and other beneficial compounds, Sneely. You get a lot of nutritional value for each bite.
Okay, so imagine a medium-sized apple, the kind you might grab for a snack. It's got a decent amount of vitamin C, about 10% of what you need a day, plus fiber, which keeps things moving smoothly, and potassium, which is an important electrolyte. But there's more to this apple than meets the eye, right?
Absolutely. Beyond the obvious nutrients, apples have a secret weapon:
Oh,
polyphenols.
what are those?
These are powerful antioxidants,
How
which
do you...
basically means they protect your cells from damage.
Uh-huh.
Think of them as tiny shields defending your body against harmful molecules.
Gotcha. So to get the most out of those polyphenols, don't peel your apple.
That's a really good point.
Most of them are concentrated in the skin.
That's right.
All right, speaking of maximizing benefits, let's move on to weight management.
Okay.
Have you ever noticed how an apple can actually be quite filling? Sometimes an apple is all I need to tide me over between meals.
That's because apples are high in fiber and water, both of which contribute to that feeling of fullness. They actually slow down the rate at which your stomach empties, so you feel satisfied for longer.
Yeah, the article mentioned that eating a whole apple is more filling than drinking the same amount of apple juice,
Exactly.
which makes sense when you think about all that fiber you're getting with the whole fruit.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we've got filling factor. Now let's switch gears and talk about heart health.
Sure.
Studies have shown a link between eating apples and a lower risk of heart disease.
That's right.
That cholesterol-grabbing action of soluble fiber is definitely good for your heart.
Yes.
And what about those polyphenols we talked about earlier? What role do they play in heart health?
Well, they can help lower blood pressure
Okay.
and might even reduce the risk of stroke.
Wow. Sounds like they're really working overtime to keep our hearts healthy. So we've got weight management, heart health. What else can these amazing apples do?
They might also play a role in reducing the risk of type 2 diabetes.
Really?
Yeah, research has shown that enjoying apples regularly could lower the risk by as much as 18%. Even just one serving a week could make a difference.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
What is it about apples that might have this effect?
One possibility is a polyphenol called quercetin,
Okay.
which is found in apples. This compound is showing some promise in research related to blood sugar regulation.
Quercetin, interesting.
Yeah.
Seems like this is a compound we should keep our eye on. But shifting gears for a moment, let's talk about something that's incredibly important for overall well-being,
Okay,
gut health. Can apples contribute to a healthy gut?
absolutely. Apples contain a type of fiber called pectin,
Okay.
which acts as a prebiotic. This basically means it feeds the good bacteria in your gut,
Ah.
helping them flourish and creating a healthier gut environment.
So pectin travels through your digestive system and lands in your colon where it becomes a feast for all those beneficial
Right.
bacteria.
That's right.
Fascinating. The article even mentions that a healthy gut, influenced by foods like apples, could potentially protect against chronic diseases
Mm.
like obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and even cancer.
Yeah. That's right. A healthy gut is crucial for so many aspects of our health,
Yeah.
and apples can definitely play a role in supporting that.
Now, speaking of cancer, I was intrigued by the research suggesting that apples might have a role to play in cancer prevention.
Yeah, it's an area of ongoing research. Some studies have suggested that the antioxidants in apples, those powerful polyphenols,
Right.
might offer protection against certain cancers, including lung, breast, and digestive tract cancers.
It's almost as if those polyphenols are like little superheroes fighting off all sorts of health threats.
It is remarkable, isn't it? But while the research is promising, it's important to remember that more studies are needed, particularly in humans, to fully understand this link
Sure.
and determine the optimal apple intake for cancer prevention.
Of course, we always want to look at the science with a critical eye. But this research is certainly exciting. There's even some evidence suggesting that eating apples might be beneficial for those with asthma.
That's right.
particularly a type called allergic asthma.
It seems that quercetin, that intriguing compound we discussed earlier,
Uh-huh.
can help regulate the immune system and reduce inflammation, which is a key factor in allergic asthma.
So yet again, quercetin comes to the rescue. But as you mentioned earlier, more research is always welcome.
Absolutely.
I'm curious, what else does the research say about quercetin and its potential benefits?
Well, there's some interesting research looking at its potential for protecting the brain.
Okay.
It seems quercetin may help shield the brain from oxidative stress, which is essentially damage caused by unstable molecule.
So it's like quercetin is a brain bodyguard,
Yeah.
fending off those harmful molecules. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Is there anything else about quercetin that we should know?
Yes, actually, there's some fascinating research suggesting that a diet rich in fruits and vegetables,
Oh, wow.
including apples, might contribute to better mental well-being.
Okay.
And it seems that quercetin might play a role in this connection.
So we're talking about a potential link between apples with their quercetin content and mental health. It's amazing how something as simple as an apple could have such wide-ranging effects.
It really highlights the interconnectedness of our bodies and the importance of a holistic approach to health.
Yeah.
What we eat can influence not just our physical health, but also our mental well-being.
That's a powerful thought. So we've covered weight management, heart health, diabetes, gut health, potential cancer protection, asthma, and even brain and mental health. Are there any other areas where apples might offer benefits?
Yes, there's some research suggesting that eating apples may reduce the chance of developing GERD, which stands for gastroesophageal reflux disease.
Interesting. So apples might be soothing to the digestive system in more ways than one.
It seems that way. And studies have also shown that apples can be helpful for digestion in general,
Okay.
and may even help with constipation. But it's worth noting that the effect can vary depending on the type of apple.
Yeah, it really is amazing how much we've uncovered about this humble apple. I know, right? It really makes you appreciate the power of nature and how something so simple can be so good for you. But there's one thing that stood out to me in the article. The emphasis on eating whole apples rather than processed forms like apple juice or applesauce.
Right, that's an important distinction. When you process an apple, you often strip away some of its most beneficial components, especially the fiber.
And we've already talked about how important fiber is for things like digestive health, blood sugar control, and feeling full and satisfied after eating. It seems like such a crucial piece of the puzzle.
Absolutely. And another thing to keep in mind is that the variety of apple you choose can also make a difference in terms of its nutritional content.
Oh, interesting. So it's not just about finding an apple you enjoy the taste of, but also considering which varieties might offer specific benefits.
Exactly. For example, red apples tend to be higher in antioxidants than green apples. So if you're looking to maximize your antioxidant intake,
Okay.
a Red Delicious might be a good choice.
So variety is key, not just for taste, but also for getting the most out of those amazing nutrients.
That's right.
Is there anything else we should be aware of when it comes to choosing apples?
Well, it's also worth noting that how an apple is grown, stored, and even prepared can affect its nutritional content.
That makes sense. So to really get the most benefit from our apples, we should aim for whole fresh apples from a trusted source.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to experiment with different varieties to find your favorites. There are so many delicious options out there, each with its own unique flavor profile.
It sounds like we could do a whole deep dive just on apple varieties.
We could.
But before we get sidetracked, what are some practical tips for making apples a regular part of our routines?
Well, one simple strategy is to keep apples visible and accessible. Have a bowl of them on your counter or desk as a visual reminder to grab one for a snack.
Out of sight, out of mind, as they say. I like that.
Yeah.
What else?
Don't be afraid to get creative in the kitchen. Apples are incredibly versatile and can be incorporated into countless dishes, both sweet and savory.
Oh, absolutely. You can add them to salads, smoothies, oatmeal yogurt. The possibilities are endless.
That's right.
Do you have any favorite ways to enjoy apples?
You know, I personally love a simple apple crumble with a scoop of vanilla ice cream. It's the perfect combination of warm, sweet, and comforting.
This sounds delicious.
Yeah.
I'm more of a savory person, so I like to add diced apples to my chicken salad.
Mmm.
Or even my turkey burgers. It adds a nice sweetness and crunch.
It's amazing how apples can complement so many different flavor profiles. They're truly a culinary chameleon. But beyond the culinary aspect, it's important to remember the core message here.
And what would that be?
Don't underestimate the power of an apple. This humble fruit is packed with nutrients and boasts a wide range of potential health benefits.
It seems like that old adage, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Might actually have some scientific backing. What do you think?
I'd say the evidence is certainly compelling. While more research is always being conducted, what we know so far strongly suggests that incorporating apples into your diet is a smart move for your overall health and well-being.
So to wrap up our deep dive into the world of apples, what's the one key takeaway you want our listener to remember?
The next time you're looking for a healthy and delicious snack, reach for an apple. You'll be fueling your body with essential nutrients, supporting your long-term health, and maybe even discovering a new favorite variety along the way.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's incredible how much we can learn from something as simple as an apple. It really makes you wonder what other secrets are hidden within the foods we eat every day.
That's a great point. There's a whole world of nutritional wisdom waiting to be discovered. And who knows, maybe there are other old sayings out there that hold a grain of truth. But that's a deep dive for another day.
Exactly. For now, let's savor the knowledge we've gained about the amazing apple and all its incredible benefits. And with that, we'll wrap up this episode.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and until next time, happy snacking. You know, it really is remarkable how much we take for granted when it comes to food. We often focus on the latest superfoods and trendy diets,
Right.
but sometimes the most powerful solutions are the simplest ones, like incorporating more apples into our lives.
I think that's a really important takeaway from this deep dive. We don't always need to overcomplicate things. Sometimes it's about appreciating the nutritional value of the everyday foods that have been around for centuries.
And speaking of appreciating, I love how you mentioned the sensory experience of eating an apple. It's not just about the nutrients, but also about the taste, the crunch,
Right.
the feeling of satisfaction you get from biting into a juicy piece of fruit.
Exactly. Those little moments of enjoyment are so important for our overall well-being. They add a richness and depth to our lives
Yeah.
that goes beyond the purely physical. It's like a little ritual, taking a moment to savor the simple pleasure of an apple. So as we wrap up this exploration of the amazing apple, what's the one thing you hope our listener will take away from this deep dive?
I'd say it's this. Think back to the beginning of our conversation. We asked if there was any truth to the saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away,
Yeah.
while after examining the evidence. I think we can confidently say that there's a lot more to this humble fruit than meets the eye. Apples are packed with nutrients that can support a wide range of health benefits, from heart health and gut health to potential protection against chronic diseases. So the next time you're reaching for a snack, consider grabbing an apple. You'll be doing your body a favor, and maybe even surprising yourself with how much you enjoy that satisfying crunch.
Perfectly put. And you know, it's funny because as we've been talking, I've been thinking about all the different ways I can incorporate more apples into my diet. I'm already inspired to try some new recipes and experiment with different varieties.
That's fantastic. It's all about finding what works for you and making those small, sustainable changes that can have a big impact on your health in the long run.
Well said. And on that note, we'll wrap up this episode of The Deep Dive. Thanks for joining us on this exploration of the amazing apple. Until next time, happy snacking.